and welcome to an exclusive chat with one of the stalwarts of India Inc., Mr. Adi Godrej. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Good.
Let me begin by asking you, we've got a new FM in the North Block now. The Prime Minister has become very active. He's been talking to various segments of the industry. Are you getting feelers of winds of change? Are you more hopeful that some kind of action may be taken from the government's end?
Yes, I'm very hopeful. I think if you look at Monday's announcements by the Finance Minister, it was clear that they want to move on the reform path. They want to take action. Clearly, GDP growth globally and particularly in India has slowed down for various reasons, and we need to get the GDP growth to accelerate again. There are a lot of things we can do on the reform front, and I'm sure we'll see some action in the next few weeks. The other issue that needs to be tackled is the perception of India. After the retrospective amendment announcements and the GAR announcements in the budget, and then the unfortunate Maruti incident and the failure of the grid, perception about India has taken a toll, and it is very important to set this perception right by taking appropriate action.
Is that the kind of message you get when you meet foreign investors and institutional investors? Are they extremely concerned and putting everything on?
Yes, whenever I've led several delegations on behalf of CII to many countries, and clearly that is the indication we are getting, that is the concern people have, and I think we should try and quickly set that perception right.
Okay. We've seen a slowdown as far as consumption in the auto sector, even apparels and jewelry is concerned. It's very visible in this quarter earnings. FMCG usually is the last one to get impacted and is more immune to these cyclical things. Do you see that because of now the added effect of monsoon, there may be some kind of moderation in FMCG also?
I don't expect it. FMCG, even in past situations where the monsoon has not been good or the economic growth has slowed down, FMCG has not been affected much. You must remember that the monsoon is poor. Agricultural output in volume terms does come down, but prices rise. So agricultural incomes, rural incomes tend to rise, and that allows consumption to continue quite well. What does happen if there is a bad monsoon? Agricultural prices rise, food prices rise, and perhaps a very small percentage of the urban population at the very low end of incomes gets affected because they have to spend more of the budget on food, and they already spend a very large part of their budgets on food. So they might get a little affected. But generally we have seen a strong growth in FMCG, both in the April-June quarter and in the continuing months.
But that urban poor category, and this is an emerging trend that I'm seeing now, how big is that, say, for Godrej as a group? What could be the contribution?
I think it's overall for the country, it's a small percentage.
Okay, so it's not a very great concern as far as that. If you see your own raw material prices, does that get impacted if there is food inflation, if there is a delay in plantation of oil seeds and other commodities? Do you see any impact, say, 6 months down the line in prices?
No, we had an impact on our raw material costs, say, up to about 3 months ago. Of late, we have seen no major impact.
Okay, so you see enough headroom to take price hikes if there is a need in the coming quarters?
Yes, we have taken price hikes over the last year, and if required, we could take more.
Okay. Let me ask you a more generic question. There is a lot of uncertainty when it comes to every angle of the economy. There are global pressures and domestic issues. As a group, are there any 3 specific steps that you're taking to tide through this, and not the usual cost-cutting measures that you are obviously always, trying to figure out, but anything else that you could share?
Well, yes, we are paying a lot of attention to 2 or 3 areas. One is innovation. We've done a lot in terms of innovation. For example, we have launched new variants of our #1 soap. We have recently launched a whole new slew of air fresheners under the brand Godrej Air. Today, this afternoon, We will be relaunching our entire Synthol range of soaps, talcs, deodorants, etc., which is a tremendous effort on innovation. The other thing we are doing is we have raised equity capital in all our companies because we feel in a situation like this, it is good to have strong equity in your books. Your debt equity ratio needs to come down. So in March we did an IPP in Godrej Properties. Very recently in June we did an IPP in Godrej Industries. And in March we did a preferential offering to Temasek in Godrej Consumer Products. So in all our three listed companies we raised equity recently. And of course, as you rightly mentioned, our quality movement, quality circles, Kaizens, etc. That program is a continuing program to improve efficiency and cut costs.
Okay. I know you are a big believer in the kind of brand that you present to the consumers. You've done a couple of brand valuation exercises also. Anything that you've initiated in the recent times to figure out what are the consumers thinking now, how are they perceiving the brand?
Yes, we constantly do market research, especially when we are looking at new innovations. We do a lot of consumer research because after all, ultimately it's not a question of what we want to do, it's a question of what our consumers want us to do. So that's a constant exercise on our part. We now have about 500 million Indians who use one or the other of our products every day. Our attempt is to see that this increases by a few hundred million over the next few years.
Any specific, say, products or brands that you think are not going to form the focus of Godrej and you may want to keep them on the back burner?
Whatever exercise we had to do in that we have done over the years, and now we will focus on all our companies.
Okay. You mentioned the launch of the entire portfolio of air fresheners. Now this is something that you've got from your Indonesia portfolio, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, two things. First is when we had a joint venture with Sara Lee, which then we bought over the Sara Lee stake, and now that company has been merged with Godrej Consumer Product. We used to under license manufacture, market and sell a brand called AmbiPure, which was a Sara Lee brand.
Which is now
ultimately Sara Lee sold it to Procter & Gamble.
Yes.
So we had to transfer it to them. Of course we got paid the value of our brand, of the brand in our books. And learnings from that and learning from our Indonesian operation, where we are leaders in air care with a brand called Stella, we decided and worked on this portfolio of Godrej air fresheners, and so both the learnings helped us in this innovation and launch.
Any other plans of such cross-selling of products?
We are looking at several other opportunities, and as and when it's implemented, we'll announce them.
Okay, that brings me to your international operations. Give us a sense of how big a chunk of revenues has Africa now become and Asia has, and say 3 years down the line, where could it be then?
Well, 40% of the revenues of Godrej Consumer Products now come from outside India. Our biggest single operation is in Indonesia. That's a very large operation. Africa is growing very rapidly. We have 4 companies in Africa, and we are adding to our African turnover very considerably every month. So Africa will be, in a matter of a year or so, maybe year and a half, as big as Indonesia. We have added to our South American operations also. We recently acquired a company in Chile. Our South American operations are mainly in cosmetics, especially hair color, and that will also grow. So we expect our international revenue will grow quite rapidly, but our Indian revenue is also growing quite rapidly. So we expect this ratio of around 40% of our turnover coming from international operations will continue.
By the end of the year, that's when your second phase of Darling acquisition would be over?
No, it will be implemented very soon, around September.
Okay, and that's, you're well funded too for that part?
Yes. And then there will be a third phase next September.
Okay, so say 3 years down the line, when you're saying if the ratio has to remain constant, are you factoring in any further inorganic growth also, or is this just the organic part that we are...
No, we are always looking at inorganic growth opportunities. We are always looking at acquisition opportunities, both in India and outside. Whenever there is a strategic and accretive opportunity, we take it forward. and we'll continue to do so.
Okay. How's the JV with Tyson Foods working out? You've seen a slew of products which have been launched in the market on the ready-to-eat and the frozen food category both.
Yes, it's growing very well. We have a brand called Yummies, which originally started with non-vegetarian snacks, but now has gone very largely into vegetarian snacks also, and the joint venture is growing very well.
Okay, but on the other hand, we're not seeing too much of activity when it comes to the JV with Hershey's. Is there any change in strategy, or are you reformulating a strategy there?
No, I think we are continuing that JV. It is already in several products like fruit juices, soy milk, confectionery, edible oil.
So no plans on any kind of expansion or a step back or maybe change in the kind of product portfolio?
There's continuing momentum there.
Okay. Let me also ask you about the Latin America plan especially. You've made a couple of acquisitions, but they've been smaller in size. Of course, they themselves are market leaders in the categories that they're present in. But do you see you need to do a bit more in terms of acquiring companies, or how do you scale up that region business?
No, we have done 3 acquisitions in South America. They've been very useful. We think growth will be very strong. Even organic growth after the acquisitions will be strong. And they are in an area where we have great strength, which is hair color. And now we have leadership positions in about 4 countries in hair color in South America. And we'll continue to grow in other countries. So we have manufacturing operations currently in Argentina, Chile and Uruguay, and from there we export to other South American countries.
And that will be the plan, or are you looking at more manufacturing hubs?
So manufacturing will continue in the countries where we do manufacture currently.
Okay. Just a bit more on the group level, sir. All 3 children are now well settled in different divisions. You've had you've been working on the succession plan for a while. There was an external agency that was also appointed. Are things more clear now how you want to really take them all forward? In which direction have they kind of figured out what sectors they want to specifically look into going forward?
No, I think my children are involved overall in the group management. They are part of the group management committee. My son Pirosha is the managing director of Godrej Properties, and both my daughters Tanya and Nisa are very active with the group management committee, so they oversee a lot of the group work, as well as in our consumer businesses. They're very active in our consumer businesses, and that will continue.
So what are your thoughts on Nisa, say, taking over Godrej Consumer as a head also? I know
we
she
don't
looks into
comment on
across
succession plans.
Okay, but nothing in the near term that we can see.
No, I don't want to comment on succession plans. As and when they are decided, they will be announced.
Okay, all right. My last question to you is going to be on a more generic level. The domestic growth for FMCG has been very dependent on the discretionary side for urban, and also how all of you are increasing your rural penetration. Is that going to be the way forward, or are we going to see new trends emerge on that front?
No, I think FMCG growth from our point of view will be done in several manners. One is we are growing tremendously because we have merged the operations of the Godrej Sara Lee with that of Godrej Consumer Products, and we're getting a lot of benefits from the merger. Benefits of scale, benefits of size. We're getting cost reduction because 2 companies have been merged into one, and we are leveraging the strengths of one business for the growth of the other. So for example, Godrej Consumer Products was very strong in North India. Godrej Sara Lee used to be very strong in South India, so we are leveraging that. Godrej Sara Lee used to be very strong in the chemists channels because of the nature of the products, which we are leveraging. Godrej Consumer Products is very strong in the rural areas. That is being leveraged. Household insecticides as a category, and particularly Godrej Sara Lee was not very strong in the rural area. So we are leveraging this, and that is giving us a lot of advantage. So this integration of the 2 organizations has led to a lot of synergy.
Has the growth of modern trade disappointed you? Would you have expected them to be contributing more to the growth of FMCG manufacturers?
No, I didn't expect it. I don't expect it. Modern trade has its challenges in India, and I think for some years to come, the traditional trade will be still the main distribution channels in India.
Okay, and any specific category that excites you a lot, you may look at, entering or establishing Godrej's presence there?
No, we are not looking at entering many new categories. We did air fresheners because we were already in air fresheners earlier.
Yes.
It's not an easy thing to enter a new category organically, but if we get an inorganic opportunity to get a brand which is either number 2 or number 3 or even number 1 hopefully, in some category we would look at acquisitions.
But what categories could that be?
Well, any category in India, we would look at any category that has growth potential and is in personal or household care.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.